The Capcom vs. series has been going strong since the mid-1990s. When I first played the likes of X-Men vs. Street Fighter, I was legitimately blown away by how well the two sets of characters interacted with one another. The success of that game begot more entries with additional Marvel characters, a stable of literal classics. But the truth was that although it was crazy cool to throw down with your favorite superheroes, the real fun would be if Capcom's best were challenged by another fighting game juggernaut, SNK. That seemed like nothing more than a fanboy's fever dream until 2000, when we received Capcom vs. SNK Millennium Fight 2000. This one finally put Capcom's top stars against the SNK roster, and it couldn't have been any better. A ratio system was set in place to deal with balancing issues, and the two groove options were meant to emulate Capcom's Alpha series and SNK's King of Fighters 98 era of titles. It played well considering it only used a 4-button interface, and I always appreciated the art style. Fortunately for Western Dreamcast owners, this came out in North America and Europe, though we did miss the Pro upgrade a year later. The real crime for Western Dreamcast owners was the complete absence of the sequel, Capcom vs. SNK 2 Millionaire Fighting 2001. While the US did get the arcade version, the Dreamcast home port was nowhere to be found. This meant that in order to play the thing you had to import, a decidedly irritating reality because this game featured a massive amount of text. Because there were so many fighters, Capcom decided to make many of the win quotes personal, and the sheer amount of variety here was staggering. So much so that when the game was localized for the PlayStation 2 outside of Japan, Capcom simplified the win quotes down to mostly generic responses, and omitted most of the custom stuff entirely. A homebrew group going by A-Team decided to take the Japanese Dreamcast version and do a complete English translation, holding on to all the stuff missing in the Western PS2 version, and adding a whole lot more. And when I say that, boy do I mean it. Let's have a look.
Crush the competition. A battle beyond your imagination. Let the martial arts madness begin. 2001 is the year we make contact. Welcome to the revolution. Capcom vs. SNK 2 Millionaire Fighting 2001.
Let's start with a quick shout out to A-Team and the members responsible for this work. Without them, we wouldn't have this newly translated gem at our fingertips. I extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you. Our changes and additions start small and work their way up from there. We begin with some name changes to make the game a little more familiar to Western audiences. The old school boss trio of M. Bison, Vega, and Balrog all have their proper English names you've come to expect. Despite that, we've kept the original Japanese title Millionaire Fighting 2001, dropping the US arcades Mark of the Millennium moniker entirely. We also see every game menu and all status updates translated to English as well. This includes the command list where all your moves reside, as well as each of the characters' endings. Though the US PlayStation 2 version was used for much of that work, A-Team went a step further and cleaned up those translations further to be more faithful to the original. One of the most important translations came with the previously mentioned win quotes and fighter dialogue after the match. In the Japanese Dreamcast original, we got over 5,000 instances that was tailored to who you fought against and the surrounding team. The generic win quotes are still there, but now you get so much more. New to this version of the game is the bonus mode, which replaces the old network mode of the original. Now you can go into a web browser-like interface and watch the original Japanese launch trailer, a developer diary with a number of different people who worked on the game, and finally the much coveted 100% unlocked save file that you can transfer to your VMU. To get out of this, simply hit the L trigger and choose exit. For those of you not familiar with it, Capcom vs SNK 2 Millionaire Fighting 2001 originally showed up in the arcade in the summer of 2001 on Sega's NAOMI hardware. The Japanese Dreamcast and PlayStation 2 home versions showed up a month later with cross-platform online play. Messing around with my favorite characters in this new translation, I was quickly reminded why I enjoyed this game so much. It was a great mix of familiar sprites, beautiful new three-dimensional backdrops, 3-on-3 elimination-style matchups, and a monster roster of some of the genre's most recognizable faces. Capcom made a number of changes over the first game in the series, which included a return of the 6-button interface, and a new groove system with 6 options. The C groove is most closely related to the A-ism of Street Fighter Alpha 3. This is your 3-section super combo gauge and you have alpha counters. The A groove is basically the V-ism from Street Fighter Alpha 3, or the custom combo variant. Pop it and you can chain together moves really fast. The P groove is based on Street Fighter 3. This one gives you access to forward and back dashes, smaller quicker jumps, and you can parry incoming attacks. The S groove takes after the extra mode from King of Fighters 98. This includes a dodge move to avoid incoming attacks, a dodge counter, a self-charge for your power gauge, and unlimited supers when you're near death. The N groove is the advanced mode from King of Fighters 98. This gives you access to smaller, quicker jumps, plus the max mode when using the power gauge. This gives a very powerful super move that does a lot of damage. Finally, we get the K groove, which is specifically based on Samurai Showdown and Mark of the Wolves. This gives you access to the Just Defend style of blocking, which is essentially blocking at the last second to get a health boost and access to faster recoveries to counterattack more efficiently. You also get a rage meter here. Once full, you get a big boost in attack power, a defense bonus, and access to a massive super move. Needless to say, the options go deeper than my simple descriptions here, and are truly staggering for a single fighting game. The core combat does feel similar across the entire game, but the various grooves offer a fine-tuning that can really make a difference. This is especially true when you apply a groove to an opposing brand's fighter. Using Ryu with one of the SNK setups, or Nakaruru with a Capcom option, can be transformative in how they play and feel. There's no question that this game was one of Capcom's most ambitious projects at that time, and it definitely deserves your attention if you've never tried it before.
Fight!
The Dreamcast version also has a bunch of different modes to choose from. Of course, there has to be an arcade mode, which is centered to the single-player experience. You can choose a 1-on-1 match, a ratio match, or a 3-on-3 match. The ratio match and the 3-on-3 match appear similar, but the new ratio system changes things quite a bit. In the first Capcom vs SNK, the fighters themselves were pre-assigned a ratio number. In Part 2, the ratio is assigned by the player and works within a 4-point system. For example, if you choose a team of 3, you can assign one of your fighters a 2 and the other 2 fighters a 1 to make up your 4 points. This will mean that your fighter with a 2 ratio will be stronger, take more damage, and be the anchor of the team. You can mix and match this system a bunch of different ways, including giving all 4 points to a single fighter. The 1-on-1 and the 3-on-3 modes do not use the ratio system and are straight matchups. The arcade mode is also where the story mode plays out, a tournament held by the Garcia Financial Clique and the Masters Foundation. The winner takes home $1 million, and all sorts of conflicts and friendships will emerge.
Live and let die. Fight!
The survival mode is self-explanatory. One life and one-on-one battles. There are two options, a fight everyone to win mode and an infinite mode where you keep going until you die. The versus mode is the main multiplayer portion of the content. You can select the stage to fight on, a handicap if needed, and whether you want a one-on-one battle, a ratio battle, or a 3-on-3 battle. Training mode is where you can practice your moves and the various groove options. The replay mode allows you to save a fight to the memory card and watch it again. The groove edit mode opens up after you defeat the game. It gives you 2 slots to create and edit your very own groove. This costs groove points, which are won in the various other modes. The color edit mode is exactly what it sounds like. This is a customization menu where you can change the colors of the fighters' outfits. No matter what type of content you're looking for, this game has it. Want to battle against just Capcom fighters? You can. Want to get revenge against that boss that keeps whooping your behind? You can do that too. Capcom vs SNK 2 is a complete package of fighting game goodness.
Live and let die. Fight! He came out with a sneaky surprise attack at the start of the
Should you have never played this one before or haven't played it much, now is a great time to try again. The entire thing is in English, it's been improved in numerous ways, and you have the option of gaining access to all the hidden content immediately. There is also a number of new fighters that weren't in the first, like Street Fighter 1's Eagle and Samurai Showdown's Hyomaru. 48 total fighters for an absolutely huge amount of choice. No matter your fighting style, you will find someone to love here. The sheer scope of the experience is unreal, and it's so great to see new life being given to it by the community. Whether a newcomer or a grizzled veteran, we have a new contender in town for the best way to play this game in English. It looks the best, it plays the best, and there is no longer any excuses to deny it. Just take a moment and go back to the publications at the time and how well it was received. The mighty Famitsu lavished it with praise and high scores for both the Dreamcast and PlayStation 2. Games Master in the UK only found fault in the low-res character sprites, but otherwise said the game was so well done, it was impossible not to love. And finally we have Maniac from Germany, which rated it just as high as Mark of the Wolves, also loving the visuals and called it a bona fide hit. I can't help but to agree with all of them. I'm Sega Lord X. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.